Fist flying, no bounds. Podcast kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQB, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on a Sunday, and yeah, we had a decent fight night yesterday. Decent, I would say. After my rant of talking shit, I actually regret some of the things I said about this card. But you know what? I'd much rather regret saying a couple things here and there in order for that card to be actually pretty good. And some fights come through that I was just like, what the fuck is this fight? And yeah, so I got proven wrong on a couple things, which is perfectly fine by me. It was a decent fight night, and you know, we move on. Just another week of fights, and another, yeah, the past couple days, I should say, I was gonna say another couple days of stuff going on, but there really wasn't a whole lot in the news as far as MMA or combat sports, really. I mean, nothing crazy. Like, it was just kind of events happened and things went down, and then that was really how it went. So nothing crazy. I was waiting on some, I keep hearing about this possibility. I missed a card. What did you think? I thought it was all right, man, actually. Considering how annoyed I was with even, you know, throwing this card in with all the bullshit else that the UFC's got going on. I threw this card in as a look. Just look at this week. It sucks ass. And then I got proven wrong. It was actually, I would say, for the most part, it was better than 326. So we actually had some good finishes and some good fights overall in the prelims. And then the main card came out, and same thing, pretty decent all the way through. I wouldn't say your average boring Apex card, but definitely a little above average. Not spectacular, but entertaining. So what's up, Christian? How you doing? Both Tylers in the chat already. Appreciate you guys for jumping in. Tyler Fish and Tyler Betts, and anybody else that's here. Appreciate you guys for checking out the show. Please make sure you hit that like button while you're here, because that helps out the show, of course. Helps out the channel, just lets people know that you're liking it and stuff like that. I know it's annoying to hear people talk about that all the time on YouTube or whatever, liking and subscribing and all that, but it is a thing that you got to do if you want to grow your channel a little bit. Just reminding people, because I know when I'm on YouTube, I forget sometimes too. So sometimes, what? Is I a fucking bum? Did he cost you money, Christian? That's about the only reason why I think you would say that. But I was actually thinking that he would do better than he did, and he didn't. He didn't do well at all. So we're definitely going to get into talking about that. And because I didn't really give it a lot on Thursday's show, because I was too busy just talking shit and ranting. I did want to just talk quickly about the announcements that were made on Thursday as well. So we'll hit that up here in just a second. But other than that, bro is definitely betting. Just gave up his neck. Yeah, man. I don't know. Let me see, where was that fight at? I'm just looking, bringing up actually, this reminds me of oh yeah, against Kutalaba. Okay, I don't know why, but I kept getting oral by like thrown in there for some reason with fighting with C, and he was fighting Curtis. But yeah, I was expecting him to do way better against Kutalaba, honestly, and I don't know what the fuck that was about, especially in the first round. But we'll definitely get into talking about that one. The only other things I think going on next week is Evloev versus Murphy, happening earlier in the day. For me, the prelims start at 10 a.m. and the main card starts at 1 p.m. So just a quick reminder about that. I'll try to remind you again at the end of the show. But obviously, I'll do my preview show on Thursday, and I'll remind you then too. But that's what we got coming up for that. I've been a little bit like disconnected Just in the manner of, I think I just ranted everything out on Thursday, and then I just kind of said fuck it and walked away. And then I watched the fights on Saturday and did my prep today. So really didn't, but didn't have a lot of stuff coming up on my feeds like for any kind of combat sports or MMA. I mean, I know I'm not on X as much as maybe I should be, because that's where like a lot of stuff goes down. There's nonstop. But if it's dead there, then you know it's dead all over. And I know it wasn't, but I just not on there very often. So if I don't see a whole lot coming up on TikTok or Instagram or, you know, even Facebook, I don't check Facebook that often anymore. Not for fight stuff, at least. So the if I don't see a whole lot coming up, then, you know, at least a whole lot of new stuff, then there's just doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on. I think there was just a lot of stuff that happened last week, and it all got over with, and then the events happened this weekend, and I think there was a BKFC event this weekend where that WWE guy came in, some Albanian dude, and then he's talking crazy on the mic after. I don't know if anybody watched that, but I kind of wish I did. I totally forgot. I need to start catching BKFC a little more. I need to start following it a little more. You know, the only other things that I really follow besides the UFC is I'll watch what's it called? Dirty Boxing. I like Dirty Boxing, but I don't know why. BKFC, I forget that it even happens. Yo, what's up, Antoine? Welcome in. Appreciate you for coming in. Don't worry about being late. You're not very late at all. So yeah. Oh, World Baseball Classic. Yeah, I keep hearing about it, man. I wish I could get into it. I just been seeing, you know, whatever pops up on social media. But yeah, I do wish I was paying more attention, because it looked like some fun stuff going on every once in a while with it. But yeah, I didn't watch much. I did catch some college basketball. I went and watched the game yesterday for the U of A, pulling out a win. Against, who was it? Who the hell were they playing? I already forgot. This was yesterday, and I already forgot. Anyway, we went to a like bar / restaurant and got some food with a buddy of mine, Josh, who's usually in here, and we sat there and chilled and watched the game after we played some golf, actually. So yesterday was a cool day. Today's just been kind of chill. Did some yard work this morning, and then did the prep for the show and kind of relaxed a little bit. So would you personally rep USA or another country? Well, USA for me. I mean, I don't have none of my close well, I guess I have some somewhat close relatives that were from Mexico, I guess. But nothing so close to me that I would be like, oh, I definitely got to rep Mexico. It would definitely be the US. That would be who I would rep for sure. So yeah. But other than that, I mean, I did, like I said, I caught some college basketball, which I don't usually watch a lot of, but it's the U of A, and that's the home team here, so I did catch that. That was cool. I mean, it was a competitive game, and it was Josh was losing his shit, and he was not really, but internally he was trying to hold it all in. We were in a restaurant where we were kind of in the patio area, but it's all covered. There wasn't a whole lot of airflow. It's somewhat of a newer place here. And there just wasn't a lot of airflow, and it's just starting to get a little warm here. And we were kind of a little uncomfortable, because it was like, damn, it's a little warm out here. There's no like good airflow. And then there was just people being extremely loud, extremely loud. And I know we're watching a basketball game, but you know when somebody hits a pitch that is just so much, like your ears start ringing, that's how loud it is. That's the way it was. People were like erupting over just a simple run-of-the-mill basket being made, and I'm like, you cannot be this loud for every single basket that is made by the home team. You just can't. Like, you see a great play, that's when you get that loud. You see, so you make a basket, cool, clap your hands a little bit, be like, oh yeah, nice. But you don't have to yell and scream at the highest pitch possible. I don't know if anybody else gets bothered by that, but holy shit, bro. I mean, this is kind of why I hate betting, honestly, because Antoine just said I think they had money on the game. I mean, people get crazy about their home teams, right? So I feel like a lot of times when I go watch these games, especially for the U of A, when it comes to basketball, especially, one of the best teams in college. Yeah, no, they are, and that's why, I get it. The fandom is crazy, but like we should be, they call them the cardiac cats for a reason. Josh knows exactly why, because that motherfucker be clutching his chest after some plays happen. He's just like, oh my god, he's like gonna die. You could see it in his eyes too. He wants to go off like crazy, but he doesn't. Everyone around us is screaming, and I'm just like, man. There was this little kid that kept screaming at this crazy pitch too, and when you see those videos of stupid goats that are like screaming and shit, that's what it sounded like. I was like, bro, this is enough. But whatever, I guess it's part of the atmosphere. I just wish it wasn't as like warm and stuffy in that area that we were in, but the food was good and we had a good time watching the game. Had a couple drinks, nothing crazy, but got to play golf before that, like I said. And yeah, I did pretty well. We played this it's like a smaller course. Has a lot of par threes and then some par fours. There's no par fives. It's like a smaller course. You can get through it. A normal course takes you 4.5 hours. This course you can get through it like 2.5, maybe 3, if the pace of play is good. And yeah, it's good for your short game type shit, right? So I was doing okay. I was doing pretty well actually. I actually parred every single par 3, which is something I've never done before, and that's kind of crazy for me. I don't know if anybody knows golf in here, but for me, being the type of player I am who just plays every once in a while, nothing crazy. I've been playing most of my life, but not consistently. So for me, especially with my putting, because for some reason my putting is absolutely horrible, parring every single par 3 is pretty fucking awesome. So I don't know that I've gotten that many pars in a round of golf in a while. I'm usually a bogey to double bogey player. More than that sometimes even, but I try to keep them down to double bogeys at the most. So that's just 2 over par, right? And your score just jumps up. I'm not that great. I mean, I'm pretty decent, but I'm not great. So yeah, I was able to par every single par 3. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I get to the last 2 holes, which are 2 par 3s in a row. The last one is like a 200-yarder, and I parred the second to the last hole, and then I get to the last hole. I was like, I never hit this green ever. I'm always somewhere around it, and I just smoked this shot, and we thought it went over the green, and as we're driving up, I see that it's pin high, but a decent 20 to 25 feet away. You beat Tiger Woods in a golf game? Yeah, on EA Sports, right? There you go. I saw it coming. It is not a calming sport to play whatsoever if you give a shit about how you play, which I care about how I play just because I've done it for so long, and I've actually it's what I do now. I used to continue. I played softball for a little bit, old guys playing softball. Got done with that because it was just too much trauma, and COVID happened and all that. That's kind of why I stopped, and then I got into doing this. So we get UFC and PFL. Oh, do we have PFL this weekend? I haven't even checked. Usually I go through and I try to look ahead to see what's going on, and EA Sports, it's in the game. Dude, I miss when they used to say that all the time. You get to a commercial. I'm all over the fucking place, by the way, if you didn't notice, but that's okay. I'm just answering you guys in here. Yeah, so yeah, PFL finally back. That's crazy. I'm gonna definitely have to look into that so we can talk about whatever matchups are coming up for that on Thursday as well. But yeah, golf is a frustrating game, and it's a frustrating game, and the hardest part, I don't know if putting for me right now is the hardest part. I feel like I should be able to putt way better than I do, and that cost me some birdies I could have had on some of these par 3s, and it cost me my score overall. So I need to work on my putting, and it's dumb because I have some of those putting mats and shit at home, but I get bored of it so fast. It doesn't do anything for me. So maybe I need to look up some ways to make it more interesting and figure out how to get my putting better. Either way, we're not here to talk about golf, but that's just me talking about one of my interests. We are here to talk about MMA, and MVP MMA might overtake PFL. Bro, they haven't even had their first event, and people are saying that. That's how you know how much ass the PFL is. It's sad. It really is sad to say, but that's how you know the state of the PFL when people don't even think about it. And then when they have an event finally after being out for a bit, it's like, oh shit, I forgot about them. But MVP MMA, I don't know if that's going to be a whole thing. But I think if they catch momentum with this first event, that's one of the things that I was trying to get to at some point with my rant, but I didn't quite get there. We kept flying off the rails in other directions. But my thing about the MVP MMA is this, like, of course, they've done the boxing, right? They've had boxing events. He's done wonders with the women's boxing. Look at now they have a deal, a broadcasting deal with ESPN, which is crazy. For women's boxing, like, that's nuts. And it's pretty badass too. So what he's done with boxing, it's like he puts his mind to it and he does it. And I got to give Jake Paul that, I got to give him and MVP, their flowers for that one, because it is something that they're getting done. But MMA is a whole different thing. And while, yes, right now the UFC's down and out because they don't have big stars, their fans are turning on them because of the way that the company's being run, basically. The matchups have been garbage, and the events haven't been great. And then we switch over to not having to pay for pay-per-views anymore, and we get shit cards. Not that we weren't getting shit cards before, but at least they seem to try harder to make them a little more worth it. And now, so far, it seems like we've just been getting cards that are like just barely put together and not a lot of thought. There's definitely better matchups to make, and we see fighters, not wanting to fight because they're not getting what they want out of it. So I don't think the event last night was great though. Oh, I do think, okay. Yeah, it was better than I thought. Better than I thought, for sure. That's why I was saying, oh yeah, you were late. I said earlier, I kind of ate my words on that event. I lumped it in there with the entirety of the bullshit that I was pissed off about on Thursday and ranting about. So I lumped it in there, and it delivered. I mean, it was better than I thought it would be. There was one fight in particular. I was like, this fight shouldn't even be on the main fucking card. It should be Petrino versus Asplund instead of Rahiki versus Hardwick. And holy shit, did that fight just come out of nowhere. I underestimated that fight for sure. I was like, who the fuck is Rahiki anyway? But I was mad, so I didn't care. And yeah, they made me eat my words, that's for sure. But yeah, everybody was kind of downing on this event, and that's why it's good that it came through. But the frustrating part about that is, like, it came through, but that's the thing, is the fight cards you don't think you're gonna get shit from are the only ones that are performing. That's bad. That's good in the overall perspective of things, because at least the Christian is pissed about C. Holy shit. How much did he cost you, Christian? I gotta know now, since you're passionate about that one. But the events that you don't expect much out of turn out to be damn good. That's usually a good thing, because then it's like, holy shit, at least even the shitty events, 4K, damn. Now that's what you were slated to win, right? That's not what you put in, or is that what you put in and lost? I forgot to ask that. Or clarify which one I was asking for. But I think sometimes when you ask somebody that bets a lot, you ask them how much you lost, and they tell you how much they could have won, so they look at that as a loss and not how much they actually put in to bet to win that amount. So I always like to clarify, because those are two different things. 50 in for 4K, okay. But it hurts when you lose a bet like that. To turn 50 into 4K would have been amazing. And I know you've done similar things, maybe not to that extent, but I don't know your whole betting history. But I know you've turned very small amounts in for big amounts in the thousands. And that's always dope to see. So yeah, for sure, 4K sucks to lose. That's why I stopped betting, because it was just pissing me off too much. And I sucked at it, right? I mean, I can call a spade and call it quits when I know I'm beaten. I might jump back in and try to bet again here soon in the near future, but you never know. Anyway, I veered off the subject again. My thing with MVP MMA is this event going to really be good? Let's see who else they get on their card. Right now they have 2 fights. major fights. Kind of major players in these fights. Obviously, Ronda versus Gina, major fight. Both of them coming back after being out for so long. That's a big deal. And they're big names, especially with Gina having been out as long as she has, but all the stardom she's achieved being out of the game, doing other things. And then same with Ronda going to WWE, also being in, in movies and shit. But they've both been out forever. So how is that event gonna, how is that fight card or that fight itself gonna deliver? That's the big thing. We can hype it up all we want, but that's just gonna be a bigger letdown if it turns into just two chicks in their 40s looking like chicks in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? It could get tough. But I think they're more athletic. They're too athletic to let it go down like that. But if Ronda just comes out and sweeps the floor with Gina, that's gonna suck optically and for just the whole overall. Ronda appeared on AEW Wrestling an hour ago. Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that. Sounded like nobody really gave a shit too much, but I could have heard incorrectly, but I did hear about that. So yeah, she's gonna put her face out there more because she knows marketing. You know what I'm saying? She said she learned from the best, from Dana White. Dana White has obviously done well with the UFC in the past, and she learned a lot from him. So she's gonna put herself out there. I don't doubt you're gonna see her at wrestling events. You might see her pop up, maybe not at the UFC, but maybe at some kind of MMA event, or something. And you're gonna see a lot more of her because she is the face of that entire MVP card. Sure, Gina's beloved, but I think there's definitely, especially with the way that Ronda talked in that press conference, she's the face of that event. So, of course, we have Francis Ngannou there as well. That's a big name and a big player. But I give a shit because I'm a big fan. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I was just saying I heard that the people in the crowd didn't seem to give a shit much. But that's just somebody's perspective. It could be completely wrong. I didn't know about it until I heard this. So, who knows? But yeah, she's definitely going to have her face all over the place. And it sounds like she's jumping into this event and backing it to the fullest extent, especially because her name's at the top of the card. That's what she's going to do. But this event has to deliver, man, because with all the hype, all the shit talking and everything like that, if this event doesn't deliver, there's not going to be an MVP MMA. Sure, they can make it happen. There's a lot of talk about who could go where and what can do what. But if Francis Ngannou just rolls over Lens, or worse off, if it's some kind of stupid grappling match that nobody asked for and it's boring as shit and we get a decision with not a lot of action from both of these fights, it's over. That's done. We can already see that in the UFC. So what the fuck do we want to come see it over here for? You know what I'm saying? So that's harsh criticism on the UFC. I usually am not like that, but like I said last week, I'm sick of pretending, man. It is what it is. So, but then again, this event turned around and proved me wrong, and that's cool. I prefer that because I'm still a UFC fan. For till the end probably, but I'm gonna be more real about it. Have a more real outlook on it because I think it, but I don't always say it on here because I'm not trying to be negative all the time. But shit, just gonna call it how it is. Do you think the Ronda versus Gina card will be a full-on card, like 15 fights? I don't know if it'll be 15, but I bet you they try to get at least a good 8 to 10 fights on that card. I don't know that they're gonna go a full card like a UFC card or any other big MMA promotion, but you never know. Jake Paul is one of those guys that's like, hey, we're gonna do it like them and show them that we can do it better. So that's kind of what he did with boxing. I could see him doing something like that with MMA. So we'll see. That's what I'm saying though. It's like that card has to deliver. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on that card, and there's gonna be a lot of high expectations. So that's where the pressure comes in, and that's where we got to find out if it's real or not. Ronda's already talking about how she's probably not gonna fight more after this, and Gina left it up in the air. So you already have your main event up in the air as to whether or not you're going to see them against possible opponents that would make sense, especially for Ronda, who's slated to win right now. Everyone's saying that it's going to be a a landslide victory for her that there's no way Gina's going to be able to overcome Ronda's skill set, but I don't know. And it's into a dome and on Netflix. Exactly. So there's big expectations here. And that puts a lot of pressure on the organization and the fighters. So we'll have to see. But now that I've gone 25 minutes and I haven't even mentioned my sponsor, I'm going to do that real fast. Let me give a shout out to my sponsor, Noctane Smelling Salts, of course. I appreciate you guys for always listening in on me, giving a shout out to the sponsor because, well, they hook me up with the product and I like it and I use it all the time. So definitely got to shout them out and I appreciate them hooking me up with the product. So I'm going to give this a whiff and then we'll move on to what we had prepped for today. Here we go. Oh. Little delayed, but it hit. Oh. This is the most potent bottle with the red cap. They have 2 other potencies. They have different scents. You can add scent to it so it doesn't. Oh, my eyes are burning. You can add scents to it and yeah, it's a good product. You can, choose your potency and yeah, there's a lot to it. So scan that QR code on the screen or click the link in the description below. It's always there. You can always go back. Is there a white cap? There is. The white cap is it is not the McGregor edition, but there is actually a white cap, and that's the least potent one. So it's not the equivalent to the McGregor edition. So yeah, go scan that QR code, link in the description below. You can go check out their webpage and learn more about it. It's a cool webpage to look at as well. So yeah, check it out. Thank you to Noctane for the sponsorship. And yeah, that about wraps that up. Let me take a sip here and we'll get to it. As I drop some. All right, here we go. We'll get started. I wanted to talk about these fight announcements, like I said, just because I didn't really go over it much when I was ranting about it or about the UFC. So, of course, Combat Sports Today is who I get to do interviews for with fighter interviews. And like I said before, they are always keeping you up to date on all the breaking news and stuff like that. So yeah, you can check them out. This came from their Twitter/X page, and you can always find stuff like this there, especially, but you can find them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. But they keep you up to date with stuff, so it's cool. And yeah, this is the compiled list of the announcements. So remember, I think we were talking about Charles Jourdain being in the I think we were talking about Charles Jourdain being at the White House card instead of like Zahabi. Somebody mentioned that, which I said wasn't a bad idea, but now we know he's actually fighting Kyler Phillips. That's actually a pretty decent fight for him. Kyler Phillips has proven to be a pretty damn good fighter, an exciting fighter, and I think that's a decent matchup there for Winnipeg in April. Also in April at the Apex, this bullshit ass putting a former champion who isn't even at the tail end of his career yet. At least I don't think so. Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal. I mean, that's a tough opponent for him, and that's a pretty great fight. But for that to be an Apex card sucks ass. Like, I can't believe they did that shit. It's fucking annoying and stupid, and I hate it. Then we got Beneil Dariush versus Quillan Selkilde in Perth. So, I mean, just say goodbye to Beneil Dariush, man. Like, he has just not been doing well. He got knocked out quickly in his last fight, and now they're feeding him to Quillan Selkilde, who has more than once, I would say 2-3 times, knocked somebody out with one punch or one kick. And you're gonna give Dariush, who gets touched and on the chin and basically, crumbles into nothing. You're gonna give him to Quillan Selkilde. Great matchup. What the fuck are we doing here? Anyway, UFC 328, we got Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland, which has potential to be a remake of Khamzat versus DDP, but Dariush going to turn back the clock? Shit, I hope so, man, because I really don't want to see him get knocked out like that again. But I don't get why Beneil wants to continue. Like, why do that when you know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like being on the real tip. Like, fuck, he's just not done well, and that's bad for him. So Quillen against no, it's just not a good matchup, man. And I really do hope because Selkill can bounce back, right? I mean, Beneil's at that point, but also if he does turn back the clock and have a great out showing, then that just puts him back into another fight. I kind of feel like he's pretty close to being done. So if he wins here, he's definitely going in for another one, and then it's just another opportunity and get him knocked the fuck out again. So it's a tough one, man. It's hard. I go back and forth with it. I like Beneil to a certain extent. I just feel like this is a bad matchup for him, just going off of what Selkill has done before. Imavov has to be angry. Yeah. So Chimaev versus Strickland. I mean, like I said, it has potential to be another DDP versus Strickland. Versus Chimaev. But Strickland does have, he is a little more active, I guess, when it comes to, takedown defense or trying to get up off the ground. He's a little more relentless than maybe DDP. But I thought DDP would be strong enough. He always shows like he's very strong. So I thought he'd be strong enough to get up off the ground and not let Chimaev hold him down like he did. But that was just 5 rounds of nothing but being held down like a little brother and getting a noogie or a wedgie. So that's about all DDP did. So Strickland would be the one to want to say no for sure, Johnny, but I just didn't think that DDP would get held down like that. But Strickland is a little more hard-headed, so I could see him not wanting to, as he says, give up when it comes to the Chechen whore, or isn't that what he calls him or something like that? Whatever he says about him. But imagine just Chimaev just doing what he did to DDP or worse. Like, not only is that going to suck as a fight to watch, unless you absolutely hate Sean Strickland, and I don't hate him that much where I want to see that kind of a fight. I'd rather see him get knocked out quickly or something. But yeah, it's gonna be it's a rough one to try to think about what might happen. Alexander Volkov versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. I'm sure Acosta's probably gonna come out on top with that one. Volkov's one of those guys. He's a tough dude, but he's one of those guys that lose to somebody like Cortez. So Sean Brady versus Buckley going to be amazing. Yeah, Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Yeah, I think that has potential to be a great fight. They both have something with them that when they get frustrated, they kind of shut down. And I at the moment can't think off the top of my head what that is for each of them, but I remember at some point in time watching both of them fight, and like Brady in his last fight, it looked like he was frustrated. Was it his last fight? I'd have to look it up. I don't even remember. One of the last fight or the fight before. I thought he's coming off a loss, I thought. But I could be forgetting a fight. But I've seen it in both of them, and that's what worries me, because it's like, okay, then it's going to be like, who's the one that can frustrate the other one first? But Brady's a beast. Joaquin Buckley, he's been knocking out the older guys, but still doing some KOing here and there, and it's been impressive. He's been on a decent run and has been doing well. So we'll see what Sean Brady has for him. I think it's a big matchup for Buckley, and I think Brady, it's a good enough matchup for him to just bounce back in a good way from that loss. So let's see how that goes. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that one. I'm not really sure. I think Guskov might get the best of Blachowicz at this point, but Jan always comes out of nowhere and just turns into the Polish power really stands out at times. So you just don't know if you're getting the Polish power that night or not. So that's what we'll be waiting at. But I think it's a decent matchup. King Green versus Jeremy Stevens. Talk about fucking old school throwback. Like, yeah, this is a weird matchup. King Green gets so many fights out of nowhere. It's just crazy. Win or lose in his last one, he gets some kind of a fight. It's just like he doesn't just skate by like with some weird matchup. It's always a matchup that's like that one stands out a little bit. So you're thinking King Green versus Jeremy Stevens. Like, Stevens been fighting in BKFC. Of course, he came back for that one fucking fight night in, what was it? Is it Iowa that he's from? Or where is it? Whatever, not Utah. I think it's like Iowa, right? Is that where it was? I don't know. But anyway, he comes back for that one-off type shit, and then we haven't seen him, and now he's back for this. So it's kind of weird. But then we have Atiba Gauthier versus Ozzy Diaz. Gauthier is always a fun fighter to watch fight, and Diaz should be a decent matchup for him. Arnold Allen versus Melquizael Costa for UFC Vegas 117, another Apex card. You see how many Apex cards are on this fucking thing? Jesus. Arnold Allen versus Costa. Melquizael Costa on a fucking crazy run right now. Arnold Allen seems to lose to the really high level guys, and I don't know that I call Costa that right now, but on the crazy run he's on, Arnold Allen would be that guy to be able to spoil that run for him. But we'll see, because I mean, we've seen Allen struggle here and there a little bit, and he just doesn't fight that often either, so it's kind of tough. But that should be a decent matchup. And then Davison Figueiredo versus Song Yadong for UFC Macau in May. Zhang Ming Yang versus Alonzo Menefield. That could be a decent matchup. Big boys going at it there. And then Sergey Pavlovich versus Telesin Teixeira. Ooh. Yeah, a couple big boy fights in that one for UFC Macau. Those are interesting. And then we got Mohammed versus Gabriel Bonfim. Oh, Bilal. Song going to knock out Figgy. Unfortunately, you're probably right. And that sucks. Bilal Muhammad on a fucking, like I've said before, I don't like Bilal that much, but man, he was a champ, and you put him back on the Apex card so quickly. It's like, damn. I think somewhere around this time last year, Bilal was a champ, and all of a sudden he's finding himself in June, where it's definitely been a little over a year after being a champ, and he is at the Apex. Like, holy shit. Against a monster like Bonfim, that's a tough fight. I know Bilal has been a champ, so he's a tough guy. Made a long run, had a long run to get there. So yeah, that could be a tough fight for him, or he could just steamroll Bonfim. I don't think he will. I think it'll be a decent fight, but yeah. So those are your matchups. Some of the ones that were announced just recently that I kind of forewent, like going over in detail, because I was ranting and complaining, whatever you want to call it. What's up, Tua? Welcome in. Welcome back. So that brings us over to this past weekend's fight night, UFC Vegas 114. And like I said a couple times already today, we're good, Tua. Hope you're good as well. I was wrong about this card. It turned out to be fairly decent, man. I was actually pretty surprised. I was watching them here, like, let's see, how did I watch these fights? I did watch them sparingly to the point where I thought a fight was going a certain way. I don't remember which one it was, and I was watching on my phone, and then I kind of stopped paying attention, and then it turns out that the fight turned out way better than I thought it was going. I don't remember which fight that was specifically, but that's kind of how a lot of these fights went. They weren't the worst. They were actually pretty good. At one point in time, I was like, another fucking decision, but I wasn't watching the fight throughout. And then when I went back and started trying to go through what happened with most of the fights and look at some highlights and stuff, that's when I changed my mind a little bit and was like, damn, yeah, this fight was a little better. Sad team, Emmett take that damage at 41. Oh, yeah. Vallejos, is that how they kept saying it? I was saying Vallejos, but I guess he's Argentinian, so that it's right. Argentina is where he's from. I guess they say their double L's differently. If you were his friend, would y'all tell him to retire? I don't know, man. I think at the age he's at, to fight against guys like Vallejos, who's gonna fight like that, but there's not that many of him out there. But he already lost to one of these guys that's going to be making his way up to the top. He's going to have to face him again. Does he have enough fire under him to try to muster up what it will take to beat Vallejos? I don't know. He's already 41 years old. Didn't Emmett just sign a new contract? Maybe he did. He might have. I don't remember specifically, but yeah, I don't think he's done. If I was his friend, would I tell him to retire? I would tell him to take a real good look at where he's going with this, because you lose to one of these up and coming guys that's on a streak, and you're definitely going to meet him again at the top if you work your way up that way, whether it be him as the champ, because I think Vallejos has good enough skill to get his way to at least challenging for the belt at one point. But yeah, you're either going to meet him for the belt or you're going to meet him on the way. He's not one of those guys that's going to fall off and wind up below you in the rankings somewhere after this, at least. But who knows? This man lost to two of the illest in the division. Yeah, that's the thing about him. Well, that's the thing about Emmett. I mean, his age, he's still fighting like he is. And yeah, he's definitely only lost to the bigger... I never turned my fan back on. I was like, it's getting hot in here. He has only lost to the bigger fighters, like the bigger name fighters. But that's what I'm saying. Then he bounces, he bounces into this fight and loses to Vallejos, he's a damn good fighter, man. He's proven it over and over again. But yeah, I don't know if Emmett's done yet. There's no way. I don't think he himself thinks he's done yet. But if he asked if I was his friend, would I tell him to retire? Like I said, I would tell him he needs to take a good close look at it, a careful look at whether you want to keep going this way. But those are just my thoughts. I definitely think Emmett. It just sucks if you look at his record, man. It's like, yeah, he had that huge knockout against Bryce Mitchell, that nasty fucking crazy knockout. But it's almost like karma's kind of coming back to him with having lost his next few fights. Just as long as he's healthy. Just as long as his health is straight, keep on. Yeah, I mean, if he can, that's good. It's just, man, just looking at it, it's like, damn, it's really all you've done. Yeah, it just a whole big group of fights. You got like 2 wins in there, and the one being against Bryce Mitchell. It's surrounded by a bunch of losses, so it's just tough to. Yeah, it's just tough. But I like Emmett, so we'll see. Let's move into the prelims. And we'll get started at the bottom, work our way to the top like normal. We had Piero Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Rodriguez basically controlled this fight. I thought it was going to go the other way with Sam Hughes kind of controlling, but Rodriguez really just controlled it with wrestling and top pressure. I mean, as you can see, a couple strikes in there, some push kicks and stuff, but she just kept Sam Hughes stuck underneath her for the most part, and beat her by unanimous decision. Whoa, where did I go with this? Yeah, beat her by unanimous decision in the first fight of the night for UFC Vegas 114. This one, I was watching this one, and it just I was kind of like, damn, yeah, I hope the whole card doesn't go like this. It wasn't a horrible fight, but it's a typical kind of women's fight. I think there's not much room to grow at 41. This was a good fight. Rodriguez had her foot on her neck the whole time. Yeah, it was just one of those fights where I was like, if you're not paying full attention, you're not really seeing that. And I had this one on, I was looking at it, and I think I was still sour from Thursday. So I wasn't really looking at this fight. But yeah, I mean, Rodriguez gets the win definitively. So she was able to beat Sam Hughes by unanimous decision. Next up, we had Etcher Sosa versus Luan Lacerda. And this went to unanimous decision as well. But there was some decent action in this fight. I forgot to change things up. There we go. As you can see, Lacerda got a little busted up there. I mean, Sosa was showing some damage on his face as well. He did get the unanimous decision win in this one. And he just had some really good pressure. His striking looked good as well. He just kind of outworked Lacerda. I mean, that's pretty much all there was. He did it all the way through the 3 rounds. He got himself a unanimous decision. And it was a pretty, technical fight. Yeah, I mean, for his debut, shit, that's a great fight for him. Lacerda, I kind of thought Lacerda was gonna do a little better than he did, but yeah, it was a decent fight all the way around. Lacerda was coming off that win over Simon Oliveira, by submission. So that was in the second round for that one. I remember that submission. It was a pretty slick one. He lost two fights in a row before this, so he got that one win, and now he's back in the losing column. But for Sosa, coming in off the Contender Series where he got a unanimous decision there as well, he makes his UFC debut with the unanimous decision win over Lacerda. But you know, it was a good fight, some good striking going on, and you know, he looked like he belonged in there against somebody who's, you know, fought in the UFC a few times already, and it was good competition for him, and it was a decent fight. So good debut for him, and he gets the win. Next up, we got our first finish of the night, was Bia Mesquita versus Montserrat Rendon. I think that's how you say her first name. Shit, Monse. It's tough, but anyway, yeah, this was a good fight, man. I was actually surprised at the action when it started right away. Both these girls like to throw down for sure, and Mesquita she's great on the ground, man. She sunk that choke in and had no problem, you know, securing it. I feel like Rendon tapped really, really fast, which, I mean, it is what it is. She was kind of getting beat up, but she did tap really quick. It was it was kind of crazy how fast she tapped. I don't know if there was anything behind that, or it was just like a muscle memory from training. You know, a lot of times in training, it's like, oh, don't let it go too far. Even with the choke, just tap quickly. It's like sometimes you get panic mode sets in, and she was getting overwhelmed, and yeah, it was just a dominant performance for Mesquita. So I feel like she kind of tapped quick. It was a little bit weird. Bia knows how to squeeze. Bia. Just like when Rodolfo Vieira gets a squeeze on you. Yeah, I mean, you can see it on Rendon's face. I guess just the optics of it was weird. You know, it just seemed like she tapped as soon as Mesquita got that arm like around her neck. It barely settled in, and Rendon tapped. Maybe I don't want to take anything away from Mesquita, so you know, if that's just her showing her strength and capabilities, then shit, she made her tap fast as hell, and that's exciting. She's the Jordan of women's jiu-jitsu. Yeah, well, she definitely showed her skills. It was a good one, and that one gets done in the first round. 2 minutes and 7 seconds in, Mesquita gets the win by rear naked choke. And we move on to Eric Anders versus Brad Tavares. And holy shit, Eric Anders looked pretty damn good in this fight, man. I was just, you know, they kind of went back and forth. They went back and forth, and you know, Anders just had bigger moments, man. And as you can see in both these pictures, it looks like he's hurting Tavares in that top picture, and it looks like Tavares is definitely hurt in that bottom picture. So Anders, he mixed the pressure, he threw a lot of heavy shots, and gets a unanimous decision. Tavares, you know, tried to keep his defense strong, but Anders just found ways to get in, and you know, he just got the best of Tavares. I was expecting a little more out of Tavares in this one, but for Eric Anders, this puts him back in the win column after losing to Christian Leroy Duncan in August of last year by TKO. And Brad Tavares was coming off of a loss, so this puts it 2 in a row. They looked in shape though. No shit. I mean, Eric Anders is always in shape. Tavares, I think I've seen him maybe once or twice not look like in tip-top shape, like maybe he had a little bit of trouble with some weight as far as weight cutting and stuff, but for the most part, shit. Yeah, they definitely looked in shape. And Tavares, I just thought, you know, he got TKO'd in his last fight to Brychek. He won before that over Gerald Mearshart. He has had a lot of losses, man. This is like He's 1-4 in his last 5 fights, including this one, which is crazy. His last big win was that one against Weidman. And that was a decent performance for him, but Weidman looked pretty good in that fight too. So I don't know. I always expect more. Tavares out of there. I always expect more out of Tavares. I don't know exactly why. Maybe I'm just thinking of back in the day Tavares when he went on like a 4-fight win streak, lost a couple, went on a couple, like 2 or 3 more fight win streak, but he always tends to come back and lose like back-to-back fights, and that's what he did here. He lost 2 in a row. He won against Chris Weidman, lost 2 in a row, went against Gerald Mearshart, now he lost 2 in a row. So we'll see who he gets matched up with next, and if he follows that pattern, he might come out with a win. But yeah, Tavares is disappointing. Eric Anders, it seemed like a really good matchup for both of them, but Anders just outstruck him and just too much pressure, too many heavy shots, and got the best of Brad Tavares. So we'll move on to Elijah Smith versus I pressed the wrong one. Not Elijah Smith, not yet. Hold on, I messed this all up. Damn it. Let me go. Take that away, and put that there. There we go. This was a badass fight. Manuel Sosa versus Balaji Oki. And holy shit. Souza is a beast, man. Oki just didn't look the best in his fight for this one. Yeah, another guy making his debut. What was I gonna say? I totally lost my spot over here. Where'd it go? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so yeah, I was like, Oki kind of in the third round, he just didn't look great. I mean, they went back and forth in kind of a striking battle throughout the fight. But yeah, Oki just seemed like I was just impressed by Souza. I mean, he came out and got a highlight reel knockout against Balaji Oki with that one big right hand. So he was coming from, he's fought in LFA, Bellator, and PFL. He's only got 1 loss, and that's in Bellator. He's 14-1 overall, and his only loss is in Bellator. He went 1-0 in LFA, 1-0 in PFL. He's coming from the Contender Series where he got a TKO win. He got a TKO win there as well, and then now in the third round again, a TKO win, and he gets a Performance of the Night bonus for his knockout of Balaji Oki. That season 9 of Contender Series fighters. Oh yeah, he came out of season 9. Yeah, that was okay. Definitely have a lot of fighters coming out of that one. I'm trying to remember who else, but I was looking at his other fights too. He lost to Archie Colgan in Bellator, but him and Hector Souza. Oh yeah, Asplund too. That's what I was wondering actually, if Asplund came. He did come out of that same one. Yeah, those guys. I thought Dana was kind of, and Elijah Smith. Holy shit. Yeah, that's who's coming up next in the. But yeah, as you can see, this bottom picture is cold as hell, man. Look at when, I don't know why when he knocked him out, he fucking just barked over it. Not literally barked, but he said some shit over him. I don't know if it was just a reaction from the aggression, you know, like the adrenaline or something, or if that was, I don't think that was personal shit. Like they weren't going at each other for any particular reason, I don't think. Not that I remember seeing, so I don't know if anybody else saw anything like that or if they had beef or whatever, but maybe it was just a reaction to him knocking him out, the adrenaline. But I was like, damn. And then I see this picture, I'm like, fuck, that's tough. But to be honest with you, the only real pictures that were out there were of him either walking away from Oki with his hands up, or this picture, and then the picture up top with the connection of that big right hand. So yeah, man, tough night for Oki. Yeah, Souza was losing at times. Yeah, it was, I mean, like I said, it was back and forth. So I just thought Oki in that third round just didn't look like he was in it at all. Or not at all, but like he looked like he was less in it than he had been before. So, and then Souza just catches him, man, with that big right hand. It was tough. So yeah, crazy fight there. Good finish. and that takes us to Elijah Smith versus Soo Young Yu. And Elijah Smith gets the win here. Submission in the second round. So we had 2 finishes in a row actually in the prelims, so that was good. My dogs are barking. Why the hell are my dogs barking? Yeah. So we had this happening, back-to-back finishes, and Elijah Smith versus Soo Young Yu. Elijah Smith was the one that did that crazy, slam KO from looking like Rampage. That was his last fight. Korean dude, a solid wrestler. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this wasn't like an easy fight for Smith, but he did catch him early in the second round with some good grappling, and he locked in that rear naked choke real early in the round. Once he finally got into the fight, it just looked like he took over. But yeah, like Tua said, I mean, it wasn't an easy fight, but man, he made it look easy, slipping in that choke and getting the win. And as you can see, he landed some shots on the ground too. But Elijah Smith, he's a great fighter, man. I think he's definitely got some potential if he just hones in a couple little things here and there, gets a bit more technical, and I think we can see him. Korean dude skunked Elijah in the first round. I think we can see him. Yeah, I mean, if he tightens some things up, I think we can see him get some really big wins because he has the potential to do that. But I think if he gets a little more technical overall, he can set up more situations where he can get big wins. Like, he was kind of in trouble when he got that slam win, which is kind of what you get from a slam like that, is usually they're trying to get out of a submission of sorts. So his big wins have come, kind of being in trouble. This one wasn't really that way for him, but this was a good win for him. And, with all that being said, and I just think he needs to hone in a few little things and get more technical with stuff. And I think he'll be somebody to, really be looking out for. He's about to have his second baby. Oh shit. Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's cool. He seems like a good dude too, so I'm rooting for him for sure. He's one of those guys I'm looking out for. So that takes us over to another great fight. The middle of this prelims, man. I mean, the prelims overall were pretty damn good, but the middle of these prelims were just amazing. Middle to the top, I should say. Shit, all of them were pretty damn good now that I think about it. So we got Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. And I thought this fight should have been on the main card. This is the one I was like, did you watch his Pops Gilbert Smith? No, I didn't actually. I didn't even realize that's who his dad was until he showed up, fighting in the UFC. And then they were talking about it on the broadcast, and I was just like, I don't know why. I don't remember that guy at all. But I wasn't as enthralled back in the day as I am now. So, and I still forget shit now. So I wouldn't doubt that I just didn't even know. But I don't really recall him. I'll have to look him up again to see if I remember ever actually watching him. But yeah, it's in the blood in that family. That's for damn sure. But this fight was the one I was talking about, wishing it was on the main card instead of that Rahiki and Hardwick fight. And holy shit, both these fights were worthy of the main card, because this fight was a damn war between Petrino and Asplund. Obviously, you can see the difference in the shapes of these guys. Asplund being like, what do you say he was, like over 400 or 500 pounds, some shit like that, and he lost all the weight, and that's why he has all the loose skin. It's a little off-putting when he likes to jiggle his titties around, but it's like, what are we doing, man? He makes it funny, but it still makes you feel a little weird. Like, why am I seeing this on my screen during a fight? But I guess he likes to have fun with it and make fun of himself because he knows people are going to talk shit probably. But either way, this big dude, I mean, for him to go out there and have the cardio to last, I mean, he looked tired, obviously, in the second round especially, and then, coming out for the third, just halfway through the fight, he looks tired, but Petrino was looking tired too, and look how ripped up and shredded and in shape he is. So it's, MMA's tough that way when it comes to cardio, and I feel like for Asplund to be able to have the abilities to fight like this after, you know, being as heavy as he was and out of shape as he was, and then, you know, with all the loose skin still, he's a hell of a fighter, man. He's a hell of a fighter. He can definitely bang, and he can put some hands on people, man. It's pretty impressive, actually. And he's a good dude. Like, I feel like he's a funny guy. He's a little bit awkward, but at first glance, you might think you might think you're getting Josh Hokett out of this guy, some fucking weirdo guy who tries to be too much like a WWE wrestler in a weird way. And instead, you get a really funny, you know, just a decent guy, I guess. Do you think Steven was impressive, all things considered? Steven, do you think they'll give him a layup or another fight? Oh, Steven. Oh, I'm sorry, Asplund. Yeah. Sorry. I do think he was, I mean, yeah, he's in that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I think it's impressive that he can even, you know, fight like he does. He's durable. He's got a good chin. Look at him getting his mouth blown up here, but he was still in the fight. I don't know if you saw any of the pic. Oh, what's up, Infinity? Right on. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you. But yeah, just the damage he suffered, man. His face was fucked up, and like, I don't know if you saw the pictures or his video on Instagram after the fight. Wow, that shit was crazy. His whole face was beat up. Petrino did some work on his face, man. But Asplund hung in there, and I feel like he got his shots in on Petrino as well. And I think that, you know, given the shape of both of these guys, it was a fun fight to watch, honestly. I don't know what I meant by that in the beginning. I think I was trying to just recap what I was saying, but I think Petrino just he mixed things in so much better. He was able to just land those punches and combinations on Asplund, and as durable as he is, he hung in there and took all the damage, and even pressed forward a little of his own. But you could really tell who lost that fight at the end. And I hate to say that because Asplund is a cool dude, like I said, but unanimous decision win for Vitor Petrino. It was a hard fought war though. Asplund was just battered up, but he got his in on Petrino as well, and it was a decent showing. So fun fight there, and that leads us over to Miktabek Orobai versus Chris Curtis. And Chris Curtis is so frustrating, man. He's one of those guys, just frustrating in the way that, like, you think, you know, he can do better, and he just tends to always find a way to lose. But Orobai, I mean, I can't take anything from Orobai, man. Mike Tabek. What? Mike Orobai. Okay. Orobai just, fuck, man. He was relentless. He dominated the entire fight. And like I said, I feel like Chris Curtis is way more capable, but he just can't seem to get it done. Who would win, RoboCop or Fluffy? I think that'd be a tough fight. John. Oh, I'll just call you John. Welcome in. Appreciate you for jumping in. RoboCop or Fluffy? I would root for Fluffy. I feel like RoboCop has had some issues with guys that mix things up well. And even though RoboCop can take some damage and is a great fighter and hand out damage pretty well, I feel like Fluffy might be a little too slick for him, and mix things up really well and use his wrestling and grappling to overcome RoboCop. And if he lands some decent punches and damages him up a little bit, RoboCop has his levels go down quickly when that starts to happen. So I feel like Fluffy would get the better of him, but that's just my opinion for sure. I think RoboCop's capable enough to beat somebody like Fluffy, but I think more than likely Fluffy would take that one. I think Miktabek is gonna fight for a belt one day. Yeah, he's tough as hell, man. He's tough as hell. He's impressive. I feel like we've seen him get in a war before and barely lose. He's durable. He can take the damage. He can hand it out. He's great with grappling and wrestling. We saw him completely control and dominate Chris Curtis in this fight, and Curtis just couldn't do anything. He was completely neutralized, had no answer for any of it. Orobai just secured takedowns left and right, and and just cruised his way to unanimous decision. He's a dangerous grinding wrestler, man. And when he can stand on the feet and defend himself, and also hand out some decent striking, he's dangerous, man. And I think he has a lot of potential, as much as I didn't think so at first. Just looking at him, or I didn't recognize it at first, I should say. Not that I didn't think so, I just didn't recognize it and pay attention to him that much at first. And then it's just like, man, every fight it's like, damn, this dude is just, he's overwhelming. And he's a great fighter, so I'm definitely interested to see what's up for him next. He looked like a bear out there. Yeah. And that brings us to the main card. Charles Johnson, Energy versus Bruno Silva. Man, this fight was pretty good, I guess, for the most part. Let me get to I gotta find a better way to do this, because I'm constantly losing my spot here and I don't know why. Oh, well, that would be why, because I completely lost. Oh, there it is. I lost all my notes. I'm losing myself here. I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, Charles Johnson, it was a split decision win. Johnson gets the win. So obviously we had a fairly decent close fight here. As you see, Johnson, you know, catching Bruno Silva with a knee, kicking him to the face. It was a grueling fight, man. And Charles Johnson, he tends to get in those kind of fights, and that's kind of why it's fun to watch him fight, because he's just impressive. And he's, you know, and I didn't expect Bruno Silva to keep up in that manner, I guess. You know, it was kind of fast paced. They opened the card, so, you know, jumping out there and trying to put on a good fight. I think it was a good aggressive fight. And even though we went to decision, it was a split decision, so it was really close, and it kept you interested. I mean, it was just competitive all around. Silva showed promise early, I guess, for the most part. He had some cleaner shots, and but, you know, Johnson just overtook him. The USA just defeated the Dominican Republic. Oh shit, nice. That's a tough opponent there for fucking baseball, so that's a big win. It seemed like people weren't too happy with the scorecards, and yeah, I thought maybe Silva got that win, but, you know, that's what happens with a split decision, and that kind of makes you know that, you know, it could have gone either way, and that's what makes you know it was a pretty contentious fight, you know, because when people are arguing at the end who really won, it's like, well, that just means it was that close, so it could have gone either way. I was kind of thinking that Johnson might have lost that one, and just coming up to the end, but overall, I mean, shit, he got the win, so that's really all there is to it. I wasn't too surprised when I saw that he got the win. So that rebounds him from the recent KO he suffered over Alex Perez, and puts him back in the win column. So that's good for him. I think Bruno Silva was coming off a win over Hyun-Sung Park. So after 2 losses in a row, he got that win over Park by submission, and then he's back in the losing column with this loss against Johnson. Like I said, was coming off the loss to Alex Perez, so it's a good bounce back for him. And in his last 6 fights, he's 4-2. So that's pretty good for him. A lot of decisions in there, though. He does go to decision a lot, but like we said, he's I think Bruno was pressing the action. Yeah. But he's always involved in an interesting fight. So that's what makes it fun to watch for him. And that takes us over to the next fight, Iwan Cutelaba versus Omar C. Christian Garcia lost some money because of C just kind of giving in on this one, man. And I don't know, it was a quick one. I almost got through the first round. 4 minutes and 24 seconds in, C submits to Cutelaba. And Iwan, yeah, he's, you know, looking better. I know he was back and forth with his record there. He lost to Bukauskas in his last fight, had 2 in a row before that he won, and then a loss there. So he's mixing in some losses in between a couple wins. He hasn't put together more than 2 wins in he hasn't put together more than 2 losses in a bit. He had 3 in a row, got a win, a loss, a win, a loss, and now a win. So he's kind of back and forth, but he looked good in this fight. Umar Sy just didn't look very good in this fight. I don't really know what the deal was. They got into a grappling exchange early, and Cutelaba was able to, you know, catch him in his guard and get that guillotine to get the win. You know, it set back Sy because he was just kind of on the rise, you know, as a prospect, coming in with momentum and stuff. And then, you know, you get a vet in Cutelaba who was able to come in and actually get a finish in on him. So, yeah, Cutelaba just is able to derail a rising prospect, you know. So that's just the vet speaking out and showing everybody he still got it. So it was pretty good for Cutelaba. Not a bad win for him. The Hulk is still there and dangerous. So yeah, that's it for that one. And we move on to this exciting ass fight. Rahiki versus Hardwick. I fucking oh shit, Umar lost you money as well. Tua. Christian Garcia said the same thing earlier. He was slated to win 4K if C would have not lost. So that's a tough loss there. But Rahiki versus Hardwick was the fight I was talking about. I was wondering why it was on the main card. Well, they showed us why. They showed me why. Made me eat my words. And I said that the fucking second I watched this fight go down. I was like, oh my God. I look like a jackass. I was talking shit about this fight. But Hardwick, man, talk about hard is in his name, and and no Diddy there. It's just everything.
Hey, no Diddy, man, no Diddy.
It's been a hard time for him in the UFC. He gets his legs annihilated in his first fight in his UFC debut, to where it makes him look like an amateur because he took so many leg kicks that he couldn't even stand up. And he was so hyped up coming in. And then he has that for his debut. So he comes in. Harry's defense was really bad, yo. Yeah. I don't get it. Because I don't know if you guys remember, before Hardwick's first fight, he was hyped so hard, man. So many people were talking like he was the next big thing. And then, sure, he was a champion in a lower level promotion, but damn, he came in and just got annihilated with his leg kicks. Couldn't stand for his UFC debut, and that's how he loses. And then he comes in, not even trying to disrespect him, like seeing that compared to other fighters is crazy. He was just sitting there wanting to be hit. Some guys are like that, but yeah, you can't be like that if you're getting handled to the point where you break your jaw catching all of these fucking strikes with your jaw. You can't do that, man. So of course he doesn't make it. Let's see, he gets out of the second round, right? And then he doesn't make it to the third because he broke his jaw, probably with this right hand on that bottom picture. But look at, he's getting caught with an elbow up top. He had massive damage handed to him by Rahiki in his UFC debut, by the way. Talk about making a statement. I mean, sure, Harry Hardwick isn't like a big name, but to come in and put on a performance like that on the main card is that's pretty impressive. And while he didn't get a KO, it's a doctor stoppage because he broke his jaw, man. So he broke Hardwick's jaw, and that's all there is to it. So like Antoine said, Hardwick was just kind of standing there waiting to get hit. I watched the Cage Warriors fight where he won the featherweight title. The guy he beat wasn't that good. Yeah, that's the problem, and that's why I hate when they hype people up so much. This wasn't like D1 glazing or nothing like that, but they were just hyping him up as if we should definitely be on the lookout for what Harry Hardwick's going to do. And maybe it was just a situational thing where they were hyping him because he came in. I don't know if he came in last minute or what in his first fight. I don't remember that whole story, but I just remember how much hype was around him. And then he comes in and just gets annihilated like he did. And then to come in and do this in his second fight, I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's going to prove me wrong here. And he's not going to, he's going to make up for that first fight. And instead he takes on another guy making his debut. And Hardwick's coming in for his second fight, trying to get his first UFC win. And he loses to the guy making his debut by getting his jaw broken because his defense was garbage. So, yeah. I mean, Rahiki's debut couldn't have gone much better besides getting a flatline one-punch KO walk-off. That shit would have been bigger. But this is a pretty big win. And with that big power in his hands and his striking in general, he's undefeated now at 8-0. Gets the fight of the night bonus. So Hardwick at least gets 100K for his efforts in this fight, standing in as a punching bag. But he also gets a broken jaw. So yeah, that's a tough exchange there. But that's what happened. And you know what? He didn't get knocked out, but he got his jaw broken. And I guess I can say a little something for being durable, I guess, to a certain extent. But yeah, that was a big win for Rahiki, and it was an exciting fight to watch for sure. So we move on to Jose Delgado versus Andre Fili. Man, this one was tough. It was a split decision win for Jose Delgado. I really paid closer attention to the second and third round, and in my opinion, I thought I saw Fili edging out both of those rounds, especially with those last minute takedowns and control in the last minute of those two rounds. I felt like I didn't see him really getting handled that much in the beginning of those two rounds. So I felt like maybe he could have stole those rounds with those takedowns and control at the end of those rounds. But the judges didn't see it that way. So instead, it just turned into Delgado getting the win. I could have been like maybe seeing it wrong. I don't know, because I wasn't paying full attention, but I paid way more attention to those last two rounds. I didn't really see the first round, and it seemed like it was pretty split as far as what people were saying. According to what happened in the first round, but let me get to, man, I forgot to, there it is. I was like, man, I'm reading something that doesn't even make sense. So it was 29-28, 28-29, and 29-28. How much longer do you think Andre will keep fighting for? I don't know, man. I kind of thought he'd be done by now at this point. But I mean, it was a competitive fight. Obviously, it was a split decision. So, yeah, I think Andre Fili is one of those guys that he's gonna hang on until he just can't anymore. He seems like that kind of guy. He still has some sharp striking. He's good with his counters, and he dropped Delgado for he dropped him quickly at one point in time, and his power is still there. I think Delgado was just a little bit more. He was just able to adjust, I guess, is the best way to put it. He adjusted and was able to. I love those big tattoos on Fili's chest and back. Yeah, the back one's sick. I forget what he has on his chest, but I know he's pretty tatted up. Where was I at? Oh, yeah, I guess, when it comes down to it, Delgado, I guess with the striking, he kind of kept Fili on his back foot in the last two rounds, and maybe that's what the judges were seeing. He had those grappling attempts that were in the later of the rounds, but I guess it just wasn't enough. It looked pretty good if you were really watching at the end of the round. You put that in the judges' heads at the end of the round, and sometimes guys can steal fights that way. But this one wasn't enough. Delgado just did well on his feet. He was gritty and aggressive, and he was able to hand Fili another close one that he lost. So, yeah. Nothing crazy there, but it was a decent fight to watch. And Andre Fili, let's see. Antoine's asking if we should be done. Well, his record is 13-12 in the UFC. That is tough. He's been on a win-loss streak since 2022. And that just seems to be, I mean, he gets a big win over Cub Swanson, loses to Melquizel Costa, who's tough as hell, we know, beats Christian Rodriguez in his last fight, and now loses to Jose Delgado. So it's kind of tough for Fili. I think it's enough back and forth for him, though, to not decide to call it quits just yet. But I never really watched Intervention. No, I mean, I heard a lot about it, and I've heard people talking about it, but I never really watched it myself. All right, so next up we got the women in the co-main event. This fight wasn't, I don't know, this fight wasn't the best, I don't think. I feel like I've seen Robertson be way more I like drugs. I feel like Robertson has been way more aggressive in the past on the ground when she's in the top position, but I guess maybe Lemos was able to kind of be strong enough to not allow her to feel like she was dominating or something. But I'm not sure. All I know is Robertson gets the win by unanimous decision, but I felt like Robertson didn't win in the way that she normally does, but it was still a good showing for her. She changed the momentum of the fight by getting her down and holding her there and doing what she does best, which is, punishing girls on the ground. Lemos was good early with the striking. She's usually pretty sharp jabs, and her body kicks and leg kicks are good. She does use her kicks very well. Jillian improved. Lemos almost murdered Jillian in the final seconds of that second round. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you can see some of the how red Jillian's face is too. Even though that hair's red, she's wearing red, but I mean, she got busted up a little bit. Because Lemos is good with the striking, but I think Robertson just was able to get her to the ground and just keep punishing her. Keep her on the ground, make it difficult for her to get up and wear her out. And that's pretty much what she was able to do. 29-28 across the board for Robertson. Puts her at a 5-fight win streak in the strawweight division. And, that's definitely a fight that can, beating Amanda Lemos and winning decisively can get her closer to that title shot. She said she wants the title shot next. I feel like in the women's division, yes, it's a win and it's a decent win considering there's not a lot of finishes, but and Robertson's on a 5-fight win streak and gets it done on the ground a lot. I think Dern will have something to say about being on the ground. If she can work some submissions in, Robertson might have some trouble. Never give Jillian Robertson a title fight. Why is that? You think because she'll win and keep it boring, or because you just don't want her to beat Mackenzie Dern or anybody to beat Mackenzie Dern? So yeah, what was I gonna say? I think Dern would have some decent responses with her jiu-jitsu for that ground game of Robertson, but she's strong and tough on the ground, and she can punish you, and that might be where Dern has trouble because she doesn't get hit. She doesn't take getting hit very well. So I guess maybe that'd be the tough part for her. If maybe Dern can piece her up a little bit on the feet, and then when they get to the ground, she'll have Warren on Jillian a little bit. That way she can slide into some submission somewhere. That might be a good, advantage for her. But I'm not sure. We'll see if they give Robertson the next title fight or when she gets it, because I'm sure she's going to get it soon. Omega Red. Yeah, she is damn good though. I mean, there's no denying how dominant she was, and the fact I just felt like I've seen her way more dominant in the past, and but Lemos is a tough opponent too. So that's it for that one, and that brings us to our main event, and we have Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. and holy shit, the young guy came up big time. First round finish for Vallejos, however you want to say it. When he gets somebody hurt, he puts together combinations that are insane. Like I think in the contender series or in his first fight, I don't remember which one. I think he's had 4 fights in the UFC. One of his earlier fights, maybe it was against Giga, his last fight, where he got a performance of the night bonus there with a second round finish of Giga Chikadze by TKO. He got like a 20 punch combo in there or some shit like that. It was crazy, where the finishing the fight with just crazy amounts of volume for punching and strikes. And he did the same thing with Emmett. He dropped him with the right hand, and he was able to get him on the ground, land some good striking down there. There's some scrambles, and then he was able to just catch Emmett again against the cage and just put on some just crazy amounts of striking. Emmett goes down, and he continues striking, and Emmett's just overwhelmed and can't get out of it. So it's tough for Emmett, just being the age that he's at, getting TKO'd in the first round like that against a young and up and coming guy with only, this is only 4 fights in the UFC now for him, which is crazy. But yeah, I think as soon as Vallejos gets you on the ground, like drops you, he's all over you and swarms you like there's no other thing else to do in the world but to finish you. and he's strong, and he's able to get it done, and he's pretty accurate with those strikes when he's throwing punches in bunches like that. Oh shit, what am I seeing? Oh, I got some family on first 48. Oh damn. Yeah, I was like, what are we talking about here? I just saw Antoine's. I think Kevin challenging for the belt is inevitable. Yeah, if he keeps going on this path, 100%. Oh damn. But yeah, I definitely think he's got the potential for it. If he keeps up on a run like this, 4-0, 3 of those being by TKO, 2 in the first round, 1 in the second. His last 2 fights, he got performance of the night bonuses. 1 unanimous decision win over Danny Silva. That was his second fight in the UFC. And then to get into the UFC, he had a first round finish by TKO as well in the contender series. If you look back at his other fights outside of the UFC, not a lot of decisions, a lot of finishes by TKO mostly, and then some subs worked in there. So I definitely think he's got potential to go far, especially with the showing he's had in the UFC so far. Beating somebody like Josh Emmett is definitely a big step up. Giga was a big step up too, and for him to finish him like he did and then come back and back-to-back finish Josh Emmett as well, he's definitely going to get some higher competition and some tougher competition coming up in his next fight. I don't know that they give him anybody too easy, because he's just running through guys that are really good fighters. So it could be tough. And yeah, that does it for the main event. I mean, there's not much more to say. Violent first round for Kevin Vallejos, young contender, ready to go, man. Overwhelming a older vet and able to just finish Josh Emmett early. So craziness, and it was a good main card, good main event, and good fight night overall, man. That's just kind of one of those things that's good after after all of the craziness that's happened over the past week or so, and just me going bad on the UFC and shit when I'm usually like hyped about these things. It was nice to see that this card turned out to be pretty damn good overall, especially being an Apex card. As far as the fight wheel predictions, I went 4-2 with the fight wheel predictions, which is pretty good. Considering we had been going like 1-5 or some shit like that, 1-4. But yeah, we had Charles Johnson winning, beating Bruno Silva. That was correct. Amanda Lemos to beat Jillian Robertson. That was incorrect. Jose Delgado to beat Andre Fili. That was correct. Josh Emmett to beat Kevin Vallejos. That was incorrect. And then E1 Kutulaba to beat Umar Sai. That was correct. That was correct. And then Marwan Rahiki to beat Harry Hardwick. That was correct as well. So 4-2 for the Fight Wheel predictions. Last Fight Wheel was hilarious. Yeah. Even though this is a fight night, did it give you hope for the future? Not really. I feel like it put me back on track of at least feeling tolerable. But it doesn't really give me hope. I want to see like 327. I think if that fight card pulls through, that'll give me more hope than anything. But the problem with that, actually, let's get off this screen. The problem with that is that it is kind of a stacked card. So it's like a false hope, because it should be good considering the amount of people that are on that card and the great fights that it is. So let me see. What do we got? 327. Yuri versus Carlos Olberg for the light heavyweight championship. Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira for the flyweight championship. Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett. Pretty good. Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. That should be good. Azamat Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa. That should be good. Pitbull versus Aaron Pico in the prelims. Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. Gamrot versus Estevan Ribovics. Holy shit. Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. That should be good. Tatiana Suarez versus Lupe Godinez. And Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. Bro, that's a damn good fight card for UFC 327. Next one is in England. Yeah. Unfortunately not unfortunately, because I'm not sad about it. It's just unfortunate that it has to land on a weekend where I'm going to be busy. So I'm going to be watching that one as I can, or else I'll be watching the whole thing later. But let's see, what are we looking at? That's Evloev versus Murphy, right? Yeah. That's going to be a good one for sure. Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell. Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson, which is a weird matchup, but we'll see how that goes. Iwo Baranowski versus Austin Lane. Holy shit. Baranowski is going to fucking flatline Austin Lane. There's no way around it. Austin Lane absolutely sucks. I don't know why he's even still in the UFC. So, oh man. Yeah, you're lucky, Antoine. It's my wife's birthday coming up, so I'm not mad about it. We're going to be busy. We're going to be having stuff going on, but which I'm fine with. It's just, damn, why did it have to line up? Otherwise, I'd be in here doing a watch party for that one. But it's all good. We'll be having a good time. No big deal. And hanging out with the family. So yeah, I know Austin. I mean, I don't have nothing against him personally. Just him as a fighter, he sucks so bad. Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. That should be a good one. What do we got? Prelims. Mason Jones, Axel Sola, Nathaniel Wood versus Losane Kaita. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on there. There's some decent fights down there. But yeah, anyway, I'll preview that on Thursday. We'll also Mason Jones. Oh yeah. I'll preview that on Thursday, as well as probably the PFL card. We'll talk about it for a second. And that's really it. So as far as everything else goes, yeah, that's it. Come back on Thursday for the preview of UFC London and possibly that PFL card. Thank you, 78 Northwest. I appreciate you. You have a good weekend as well. Come back on Thursday and watch the show, the preview for the next UFC Fight Night. But other than that, appreciate you guys. Please make sure you hit that like button before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, that's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.